backpacking tents versus camping tents. With so many options out there, it can be tough to decide which type of tent is best for you and your needs. Backpacking tents weigh less, and camping tents, sometimes known as car camping tents, are larger. But what are the other major differences, and which style is best for you? Let's find out. When it comes to shopping for and owning tents, remember, we're talking about the things that protect you from storms and bugs and heat and wind. So right from the get-go, the first thing is to make sure you go for quality. Using a cheaply made tent is just setting yourself up for failure. If it doesn't work well or last long, you'll likely spend more money in the long run when you need to purchase another tent. So choose quality and purchase from a manufacturer with a good reputation. Now, let's find out about the differences between backpacking tents and car camping tents. Let's start as you would, pulling the tent out of the car. Here, we have a lightweight backpacking tent that easily fits in a backpack. This car camping tent, on the other hand, is large enough and heavy enough to come with its own backpack straps. So right away we can see packed size, or a tent's size when it's packed for a trip, is a major difference between backpacking and camping tents. Space is limited for backpackers, so they want a tent that has a very small packed size. Camping tents are designed with a greater focus on living space and comfort during use, rather than comfort while carrying them on your back. So the packed size isn't a major design feature. Just like packed size, weight is another major difference. Backpackers worry about weight. In fact, for some backpackers, the most important factor to consider is weight. As a result, this lightweight 2-person tent weighs just under 2.5 pounds, or about 1.25 pounds per person. With camping tents, the assumption is your car is close enough to the campsite that weight isn't really a determining factor. This tent weighs 16 pounds. 16 pounds is not too heavy for a short transport, but most folks won't want to carry it on their back for a long weekend. Now, let's set up these two tents so you can see which features you prefer. All tents have the same primary goals: provide you a sheltered, dry, and bug-free environment. But they accomplish these goals using different materials. Going along with the common theme of shaving as much weight and space as possible, backpacking tents tend to utilize innovative, lightweight fabrics. These fabrics are surprisingly reliable and can be packed very small during trips. But they can be rather expensive, and they do need some love and care in order to last for many seasons. The fabrics used for car camping tents tend to be a bit more forgiving. They are usually thicker, heavier, and generally less expensive. The engineers that chose these fabrics are well aware that your kids, pets, and even friends will try their darndest to shred your tent given the opportunity. Here, we can see a significant difference in tent pole styles. Backpacking tent poles pack smaller, are smaller in diameter, and are lighter weight than car camping tent poles. These backpacking poles are flexible and can handle some rough treatment, but they are not indestructible. Thicker, heavier, and longer poles help support the larger, taller tent design for car campers. To achieve the small packed size and lightweight design goals that backpackers desire, backpacking tents aren't going to provide a ton of livable space. Generally speaking, a person can lay in and occasionally sit up in a backpacking tent. In fact, some, but not all backpacking tents include a tapered design. The head end is wide enough for your shoulders, the foot end is wide enough for your legs. This 2-person tent is 86 inches long, 52 inches at the head, and 42 at the foot. Not being as restricted by weight penalties, car camping tents provide as much livable space as possible, usually with much taller ceilings. This 4-person tent is a full 6 feet tall, 92 inches long, and 90 inches wide. Spaciousness is achieved with larger poles and taller, more vertical walls. In addition, car camping tents often include extra interior features. For instance, this one has not 2, not 3, but 16 pockets for gear storage. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, isn't there a compromise out there? You know, a tent that is big and comfortable enough for car camping, but light enough to carry on my back for a few days. One that can be used for the annual backpacking trip and family camping trips? Well, yes and no. If you're looking for a tent that will work for both car camping and backpacking, keep these two specs in mind. Generally, most backpackers don't want to carry more than 3 pounds of tent per person. So when compromising, you'd want a 2-person tent to weigh around 6 pounds, or a 4-person tent to weigh around 12 pounds max. This tent is 16 pounds, which is simply too heavy for backpacking, so keep the tent weight in mind. Now, when car camping, you really want to have some comfortable space to live, change clothes, so on and so forth. In order to get this, you're going to want to find a tent with more interior height than most backpacking tents provide. For example, this backpacking tent is 39 inches tall, and as you can see, I just barely sit upright inside. So keep a lookout for extra height and space. Now remember, a compromise is rarely perfect, so just know that generally speaking, the more space and comfort you want, the larger and heavier your tent will be. So, which type of shelter is best for you? Only you will know for sure, but here's some ideas to steer you in the right direction. If you're solely interested in lightweight backpacking adventures where packed space is a premium, go for a backpacking tent that weighs around 2 pounds per person or less. If you're into backpacking and some car camping with a couple friends every now and again, look for a tent that provides more interior space, interior height, and weighs around 3 pounds per person. Now, if you want to stand up, walk around, and easily change outfits in your tent, a car camping tent is the way to go. Packability isn't as important, but do think about features like easy setup and breakdown and extra space for those long, rainy weekends in the woods. Explore all the tent options at Enwild. If you like these kinds of videos, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this one, leave a comment to let us know what you'd like to see. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the trail.